Hi there, so this is the first episode of a three-part series looking at the asymmetric spinnaker and how to use them. For this we're going to be using our RS Vision we've got just here. Now in this first video what we're going to look at is the parts of the spinnaker and how to rig it. In the second video we're going to look at how to hoist the spinnaker, how to gybe the spinnaker and how to drop the spinnaker. And finally in the third video we're going to look at a bit of the theory about how to power up our spinnaker and get the most speed out of our boat using this third sail. So first of all, let's look at the different parts of our spinnaker just to get a bit of the terminology right, and then you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about in a few moments.
So what we've got laid out on the ground here in front of us is our asymmetric spinnaker. So we'll start with the three corners of our sail. We've got the tack, which as you look at it now is the bottom left corner. We've then got the clew, which is the bottom right corner as we look at it here. And finally we've got the top of our spinnaker, which is the head. We then look at the three edges. We've got the foot, which is the bottom of our sail running between the tack and the clew. We've got the leech, which is the back edge of our sail running between the clew and the head. And then our third edge is the luff running between the tack and the head. The last couple of points we can talk about themselves. We've got our sheets, the ropes which control our sail, at bottom right corner attached to the clew of our sail. And then finally in the centre of our spinnaker we've got two retrieval patches which we'll attach a line to help us recover our spinnaker later on.
So what I've done here is I've picked up the spinnaker we just looked at on the floor and I've lowered it across the foredeck of the boat. First I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the tack to the spinnaker pole. I've got the pole coming out the front of the boat just here. Now you should have a tack line coming out just here at the front of the pole, and I can either tie a bowl in or I can use this little bobble.
What I'm going to do is fold the rope over, poke the loop through the little kringle. You see I've got that loop there, and then I can pass the bobble through the loop, made, put it tight, and it will lock against itself.
Once I've attached that tack, I'm now going to work my way along the foot of our sail to make sure I've got no twists. When I get to the clew at the other end of the foot, I should have my sheets attached. I'm going to take one of these, I'm going to pass it through the spinnaker sheet block, making sure it's going the right way if there's a ratchet there. Once I've threaded that first sheet, I'm going to take the other sheets, I'm going to bring that around bow of the boat, in front of the forestay and where my jib would be normally, and thread it through the block on this side again, making sure it's going the right way through the ratchet. What I would then do is I would attach the ends of the two sheets together. There's various knots people use for doing this. For me personally, I tie a figure of 8 loosely in one end, I take the other end of the continuous sheet and I just re-thread that, the two tied together. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to attach the halyard. So on this boat my spinnaker halyard is coming down the front here. So I'm going to take that halyard and attach that to the head of the sail. And again I'm going to start from the tack, and all I'm going to do now is work my way up to the head of the sail. And my aim is to make sure again there's no twists in this sail so that when I do hoist it, it won't become fouled. In this particular case I'm just going to tie a little bowline on here. Now you want this bowline to be as small as possible because we want the head of our sail to virtually be touching the mast when we hoist the spinnaker. There we go. So I've attached my tack, my clew and my head. There's only one more line to attach now, and that's the retrieval line or the downhaul. Now this is the one where sometimes people do get in a little bit of a mess, so we're going to take it nice and slow, nice and steady. In this boat here, retrieval line comes out of the spinnaker chute just here, but the spinnaker will launch once we've rigged it. And what we do is we lie that spinnaker out again, and I'm going to find the lowest retrieval patch, one closest to the foot. I'm going to thread the retrieval line through that. I'm going to work my way up the sail to the higher retrieval patch. And at this point, what I need to do is tie another bowline. And this time, instead of doing a small bowline as we did a moment ago, we want to tie quite a big loop. And the reason we tie quite a big loop is to stop these two retrieval patches bunching up once we rig the spinnaker and we're trying to recover it. Because if they bunch up, it's much harder for our spinnaker to come back into the chute. And that there is my spinnaker rigged. Most important thing to do once you've rigged your spinnaker is to hoist it and test it actually works and that it is rigged correctly, which I'm going to do now.
So I'm in the boat here and I'm going to hoist my spinnaker. Now don't worry about the process for doing this at the moment, we're going to cover that in the next video, but the important bit is, as you can see here, so when I've hoisted it, it's gone right up to the top of the mast there, and then as the wind's caught it's inflated, showing me it's not going to snag anywhere. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to check that when we do a gybe, the spinnaker is still going to operate properly. So I'm just going to pull the clue around the front of the boat here, just to make sure there's no twists. You can see here I've turned the boat around, we've jibed the boat, and that spinnaker is still inflating nicely, which is what we're looking for. So the final thing I'm going to check is that the spinnaker will drop properly. So I've taken the retrieval line here, and again we'll talk through this process in the next video. I'm now going to drop the spinnaker back into the chute.
So there we have it, that's how we can rig our asymmetric spinnaker. Now from that process, for me one of the most important things to remember is to always hoist it on land to check it is rigged properly before we go on the water, just in case the retrieval line is going to snag or the sheets aren't quite led around the boat properly. In the next video, what we're going to look at is how to hoist the spinnaker, how to gybe the spinnaker, and how to recover or drop the spinnaker so we can actually start using these sails out on the water.